Nixon. This is clearly bureaucracy at its worst.
Yep.
And there's clearly long history and recent history showing how serious the situation is. Why is this festering, and why aren't our high public officials dealing with it rather than letting it float through the bureaucracy?
Mine. It's a good thing and a bad thing. This group, including Matt, including Kay and Harvey and Janelle, we have met with both senator staff, McCaskill Blunt, Congressman Clay's office, Congresswoman Wagner's office as well. And one of the things that we've done, and I'm really proud of Harvey, I have to say, this is an area that Harvey has worked so hard, stayed up countless nights for, Debbie Disser.
That was my question.
When we go into their offices, you have to understand that just like Matt said with the fire, and just like we were talking about and Kay was talking about with the radiological material, this is complex. It's tough chemistry. You're looking at water data, you're looking at picocuries per liter, you're looking at, depending if it's soil per gram. We, and Harvey, I should mention Harvey, has spent hours teaching these elected officials how to read this data. That's important because until they learn how to read it, it's just us telling them there's a problem and it's EPA telling them everything's okay. And I can tell you right now, Senator Blunt's office, I'm so proud of that office. I hope you guys get this on TV. Senator Blunt's office, his staff has learned how to read this data, and they're catching things that we're not catching. And they're calling us and saying, can we talk about this? Look at this water data. They get it. They understand that there is a problem at Westlake, and that is fantastic on one thing because they can call the EPA out now. They know what they're looking for, and when this data gets released, they can look it over and they can see the problems. It's not just us pointing them out. But here's why it's bad, and here's the problem. Because now they know, just like you said, bureaucracy at its worst. Now that they know with their own eyes that they're being lied to by their Environmental Protection Agency, they're forced to act. They don't have a choice. You can no longer look at Westlake and say it's not bad. You can no longer look at this groundwater once you understand what you're looking at and say it's not getting in and moving around all over that landfill. Right, and Senator Blunt took a tour of it the other day. So that's the thing. Now is the time to hold these people accountable because they know. No more excuses.
If every one of you would call, look up in the phone book and just call one.
Well, you can't take my picture and ask a question.
I'd like to know, when did you contact the senator's offices? Has the governor been contacted? When exactly did all that take place? You have enough information there to start a huge investigation. You've got cancer reports from unofficial documentation. Nobody's asking for investigations. Have you? I'm asking you, Representative Otto. Have you talked to the Speaker of the House? Have you talked to the Senator Pro Tem, the Governor's office? Has anybody gone above them to officially contact the United States government?
Can you imagine being asked a question with come and tell me what you think? And I don't care. I don't mind. I don't mind at all. I talked to the AG's office twice this week. I know the governor has been briefed on it. We have a resolution in the House. Keith English brought it up. There are some information, I think some misleading information being put out about it, but I talked to Keith about it today. Representative English is in Forson. We talked about it today, about modifying that to try to make sure that it gets through the House. As far as the federal officials, I've made it, I am here to support them. For me to go to the federal officials means that I'm leading the charge. And I shouldn't lead the charge. These are the people that need to lead this charge because, frankly...
But you have the connections in the House of Representatives.
Everybody does. But I don't want it to turn political, and sometimes that can, because, like it or not, I have to be reelected every 2 years. So I'm better off making sure that these people have the voice that they deserve.
Is your reelection more important than the issue?
Well, it's got nothing to do with that. I don't want it to be politicized. I don't want it to be
But you just said I have to be reelected every 2
No,
years.
and that's why people will point at me and say I'm using it for political reasons. I'm making sure that they have the voice that they deserve.
I just wanted to follow that up with real quickly, Bill, if I could, that tomorrow we're actually having a meeting with the CDC and the Centers for Disease Control, a representative, as well as Dr. Gunn from St. Louis County Public Health Department, and also Jonathan Garut, who was the person who released the uninformative health study a year ago, and that is taking place tomorrow.
Yeah, we did initially set up, I don't know if I have any more connections with the federal officials, except that I know the folks. We set some initial meetings, but believe me, they've met with McCaskill and Blunt, and I think Wagner and all of the many, many times. They don't need me, they're the experts, and that's who I think we need to make sure that they're representing the community. They need to represent the entire community. By the way, Sue left, Sue, Mary Nichols, Keith, Margot McNeil, everybody in the district, including on the other side of the river and there, Kathy Conway, all of these folks are engaged, and it's both sides of the aisle. It doesn't matter, it's not. Next question. Ma'am.